June 8, 2021. 9,000 criminals across 90 countries wake up to police battering rams. They're the most security-conscious criminals on Earth, paying $2,000 each for military-grade encrypted phones that promise absolute invisibility. But every message they've sent for 3 years has been copied directly to FBI servers in Virginia. Every single one. The FBI, against the world's most powerful criminal syndicates, Italian mafia, Mexican cartels, Australian drug empires. Here's what the criminals don't know. The phone company protecting them? It doesn't exist. ANOM was built by the FBI. Every security feature they trusted, the remote wipe, the PIN scrambler, the invitation-only access, was designed by federal agents. The safety was the trap. 800 arrested, 8 tons of cocaine seized, thousands of criminals who paid a premium to stay hidden. Betrayed. How did the FBI convince the criminal underworld to buy their own surveillance? And who was the criminal mastermind who betrayed them all? That answer starts 3 years earlier. What they didn't know yet was that their trusted ally would become their executioner. March 7, 2018. FBI agents storm a compound in Bellingham, Washington. Their target, Vincent Ramos, CEO of Phantom Secure, the encrypted phone company that's been routing communications for drug cartels across the globe for years. Ramos is handcuffed. His servers are seized. His company dies instantly, gone. But here's what the FBI agents don't realize yet. They haven't just taken down a criminal enterprise. They've created the perfect opportunity. 10,000 criminals worldwide suddenly need a new encrypted platform. They're paranoid, yes, but they're also desperate. The cartels still need to coordinate shipments. The mafia still needs to order hits. The drug networks still need to communicate. Someone will fill this void. The question is, who? In a windowless office in Virginia, FBI agents stare at the aftermath. Phantom Secure is finished. But the criminal market it served? That's still worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's when someone asks the question that changes everything. What if we didn't just take down the company? What if we became the company? What the agents didn't know yet was that the perfect Trojan horse was already being built by a criminal. But first, they had to find him. Here's where it gets interesting. You can't just start a criminal phone company, not from scratch. You need someone who understands that world, someone criminals will trust. Enter Afgoo. That's not his real name. His identity remains classified to this day. But in late 2018, the FBI discovers something remarkable. Afgoo was already building ANOM, already developing it as a criminal encrypted phone platform. Then federal agents approached him with an offer: cooperate, or face decades in prison. He chooses cooperation. Think about the psychology here. Afgoo understands criminal paranoia because he is a criminal. He knows exactly what features will make his former associates feel safe. The calculator app disguise, the remote wipe capability, the invitation-only access that creates artificial scarcity. Every security feature designed to provide protection will simultaneously collect evidence. The FBI now possesses something unprecedented, a Trojan horse designed by someone who knows exactly how to make criminals trust it. But here's the insane part. The FBI can't actually run it. The FBI faces an impossible problem. They legally cannot run a criminal honeypot operation on U.S. soil. Domestic authorization? Denied. So they find a workaround: Australia. The Australian Federal Police can legally monitor these devices under their jurisdiction. October 2018. The first ANOM devices go live. Every message transmitted is simultaneously copied to a secret server. A master key built directly into the encryption itself. The FBI identifies their first major target, Hakan Ayik, Australia's biggest drug trafficker, responsible for importing a third of the country's drugs. But here's why he's perfect. Everyone trusts him. He's evaded law enforcement for years. His recommendations carry weight. If Ayik says a phone is secure, people believe him. The plan is elegant in its simplicity. Get Ayik to promote ANOM to his network without knowing it's compromised. They give him devices. He tests them. They pass every security check because they are secure, just not from the people who built them. Ayik starts recommending ANOM to his associates. It's working. What Ayik didn't know was that his reputation, the very thing that kept him safe for years, was about to become the FBI's greatest weapon. But here's what nobody expected. ANOM isn't just secure, it's perfectly weaponized. The app is hidden inside a calculator. Enter a specific calculation. The code changes per device, and the encrypted messaging system appears. Criminals love this. It means even if police seize the phone, they can't access the evidence without the code. Except the FBI already has every message on their servers. The remote wipe feature? Criminals think it protects them if arrested. But here's the thing. Using remote wipe proves consciousness of guilt. It's evidence they knew their activity was criminal. The pin scrambler randomly rearranges the number pad each time you enter your code. Anyone watching can't memorize the sequence. False confidence. Invitation-only access. You can't just buy ANOM. Someone already in the network must vouch for you. This exclusivity breeds trust. But for the FBI, it maps the entire criminal network. No email, no GPS, no regular messaging, only encrypted chat. This isolation makes criminals feel invisible. But it also means every single message on the device is criminal communication. No noise, pure evidence. And here's the master key. Every message is automatically blind carbon copied to FBI servers in Virginia. The encryption is real. It just has two recipients. What psychological weakness could make the world's most paranoid criminals trust this completely? The answer: they weren't buying security. They were buying the feeling of security, and ANOM delivered that feeling perfectly. What they couldn't see was that their paranoia had become their weakness. But they hadn't seen anything yet. 2019. ANOM begins spreading through criminal networks worldwide. Hakan Ayik becomes the unwitting spokesperson. He's successfully evaded law enforcement for years, which makes his endorsement priceless. If Ayik trusts it, others will too. The FBI recruits 17 foreign nationals as distributors. These people think they're getting rich, earning commission on every device sold. Criminal capitalism at its finest. $2,000 per device, 6-month subscription fees. The business model is sound. Word spreads through the Italian mafia, Albanian organized crime, Mexican cartels, outlaw motorcycle gangs across Australia and Europe. The exclusivity creates demand. You can't just buy ANOM. You need an invitation. It becomes a status symbol, a mark of being connected. By 2020, ANOM is the encrypted platform of choice for serious criminals. Over 12,000 devices sold, more than 300 criminal syndicates, operating in over 100 countries. Little did they know, every sale expanded the FBI's surveillance network. The distributors are salespeople for their own prosecution. Hakan Ayik's reputation is the FBI's greatest marketing tool, and the criminals themselves become product evangelists, recommending ANOM to their most trusted associates. They weren't just using ANOM, they were evangelizing it. Here's the psychological trick that made it work. Exclusivity creates trust. The harder something is to get, the more valuable it seems. The more valuable it seems, the more we trust it. The FBI wasn't selling phones, they were selling status. Between 2018 and 2021, FBI agents in Virginia cataloged 27 million messages. 27 million. Agents reading in real time. Murder plots, kidnapping plans, torture discussions, massive drug shipments detailed down to the kilogram, 8 tons of cocaine, 22 tons of marijuana, 2 tons of methamphetamine. But here's the insane part. The operation isn't just collecting evidence. It's actively saving lives. Over 150 unique threats to human life are identified and mitigated. Agents read about planned assassinations and quietly alert local law enforcement. Victims are warned, hits are prevented, silence, The criminals have no idea their targets keep mysteriously surviving. The messages are shockingly casual. Criminals feel completely safe. Some send photos of weapons. Others photograph drug shipments. A few even document their victims. They're writing their own indictments in unprecedented detail. But the FBI must wait, arrest anyone too early, and the entire network abandons ANOM. 3 years of surveillance evaporates, so agents watch and document and wait. By early 2021, they have enough evidence to prosecute thousands. But here's the truth. They hadn't just gathered evidence. They'd mapped the entire criminal underworld. What the criminals didn't know was that their day of reckoning was being meticulously planned across 16 countries, all at once. But first, the FBI had to solve an impossible problem. How do you coordinate simultaneous raids across 16 countries without tipping anyone off? Not a single leak. Spring 2021, the FBI coordinates with Europol for Operation Greenlight, called Operation Trojan Shield in Australia. 16 countries must execute dawn raids at precisely the same moment. Any leak destroys everything. Thousands of targets across different time zones, different jurisdictions, different legal systems. Some are dangerous cartel enforcers. Others are mafia hitmen. The raids must be coordinated for officer safety. And here's the complexity. The FBI must keep ANOM running normally while planning its death. Criminals continue using the platform daily, completely unaware. They're still paying their subscription fees, still recommending it to new users, still praising its security features. While arrest warrants with their names are being printed in police stations worldwide, the date is set, June 8, 2021. What happened next would shock everyone. June 7, 2021, the night before. Across 16 countries, SWAT teams gear up in darkness. Final briefings are given in hushed conference rooms. Target photographs are distributed. Entry plans are reviewed. In Australia, criminals sleep peacefully. In Italy, mafia bosses eat dinner with their families. In Mexico, cartel members party in nightclubs. Their ANOM phones sit charging on nightstands. What they couldn't see was that thousands of law enforcement officers were memorizing their faces, learning the layouts of their homes, planning exactly how to breach their doors. The trap was set. Now they just had to wait. June 8, 2021. Approximately 6 a.m. local time across 16 countries. The doors explode open. 800 arrests in coordinated dawn operations. Italian mafia members dragged from their beds. Mexican cartel operators surrounded by federal police. Albanian crime bosses handcuffed in their kitchens. Outlaw motorcycle gang members tackled in their clubhouses. 8 tons of cocaine seized. 22 tons of marijuana. 2 tons of methamphetamine. 250 firearms. Over $48 million in various currencies. But here's the existential horror for the criminals. Police are reading their ANOM messages back to them during the arrests. Word for word. Every message for 3 years. Compromised. The murder plots they discussed. The torture they planned. Their most protected secrets. All of it copied to FBI servers from the moment they hit send. The phone they trusted more than anything had betrayed them completely. Distributors realized they sold out their own networks. Hakan Ayik's reputation is destroyed. He's blamed for recommending ANOM. His face becomes the symbol of the greatest betrayal in criminal history. The protection was the prosecution. But the story doesn't end with the arrests, because something far worse was coming. When news breaks that ANOM was an FBI operation, the entire criminal underworld faces a terrifying question. Which platforms can be trusted now? Criminal networks descend into paranoia. Hakan Ayik now has a bounty on his head. Distributors face charges while their former criminal organizations hunt them. The encrypted phone industry collapses overnight. Sky ECC, another encrypted platform, is revealed to have been compromised by European law enforcement. Who knows which companies are real? And here's the psychological terror that haunts them. They tested ANOM. It passed every security check. They used it for 3 years without a single red flag. If the security features themselves were the surveillance, how do you protect yourself? The very thing designed to keep you safe destroyed you. It exploited a fundamental human truth. We trust what makes us feel safe, even when that feeling is manufactured. What psychological weakness made this possible? Simple. They weren't evaluating security. They were evaluating the feeling of security. And there's a difference. The FBI proved that in the digital age, your greatest vulnerability isn't weak security. It's trusting security that feels too perfect. Because sometimes, the only thing more dangerous than having no protection is believing you have absolute protection. And if you think ANOM was sophisticated, wait until you learn about the other encrypted platforms that weren't what they seemed.